Okay, I've returned.
Commerce thrives in even the most unusual of locations.
There we go.
In your life, you will have wandered endless intersections, yet this one sticks with you. Why? What is it in your memory that catches here?
Malcalypse sniffs the air. My magical senses are pulling me towards the north. Smells like someone is baking cinnamon pie somewhere up ahead.
They place themselves in these dire positions, and then expect a hero to come rescue them when things become too much.
While patrolling the outskirts of Westwind, you hear the clash of steel and the unmistakable groan of corrupted. Your investigation leads you to a distressed nobleman perched on the roof of his carriage. Thank the gods, I was heading to tea with Duke Gilbert when we were ambushed. My footman left me here to fight them off, but the brawlers now dispersed into the forest. The noble peers fearfully at the tree line. If you stay here and protect me, I can pay. No thank you, go after the soldiers. You rush into the forest and quickly encounter a squad of Empire soldiers battling the corrupted. Knight's Sword. When he accused the mayor of being a shadow beast in disguise, they thought him mad. Okay, there we go. Although the corrupted have been vanquished, no Empire soldiers remain. You return to the road and find only the wreckage of the noble's carriage. No recruits join your cause. Womp womp.
They got themselves into this mess. I don't see why you should get them out.
So yeah, just another captured soldiers. Going with the fight option because I'm a stingy bastard. I don't know, I don't want to pay. Raider. From the frozen darkness of the far north they come. Northerners can perform combo attacks. Use riposte with single-handed weapons to deal extra damage immediately after you defend.
I hope this works!
There we go. With the Northerners dead, you free the soldiers.
Ah, a reward for a job well done.
A holy man approaches and greets you warmly. Greetings, friend. You are here just as the master said you would be. My talents lie at your disposal. Have you a need for my healing? Sure, why not? I'm glad to have fulfilled my master's wish to help you this day. The man bids you farewell.
In my day, thieves kept their distance. None would pickpocket a mage for fear of failure, or worse, success.
The market bazaar is a hive of activity. Traders from across the lands call out to passerbys to sell their wares. As the sun beats down on the crowded street, you pause briefly to draw water from a fountain. You feel something tug on the inside of your tunic. Turning quickly, you discover a pickpocket making off with some of your belongings. My gold! You jump to your feet and catch a glimpse of the thief as they weave through the crowd. Oh no. The tangled maze of people proves too much for you, and the thief makes their escape. That one is actually... There's a couple of layers to it.
Now your chance presents itself. At last, stand in the defense of the peasantry. What noble traits you display already.
Atop Westwind Town Hall is a large bell tower. It's used to signal the day's end for the workers in the mines and surrounding fields, but now it will summon Westwind's defenders. Do you wish to summon the soldiers you have recruited? Ring the bell. As night cloaks Westwind, you can sense the corruption rising from the shadows all around you. You survey any soldiers you've managed to recruit. You've gathered a large group of soldiers to defend the town. Here's hoping you won't need any more. You must survive till morning when Imperial reinforcements will arrive. Give a rousing speech. The soldiers appear unmoved by your words and remain tense and fearful. So yeah, my speech was 10 out of 10, as you can tell. Terror of Westwind. As the final vestiges of humanity are erased, the terror wakes. Use Bash to break the terror's corrupted armor and defeat it with a finisher before it regenerates.
With all these soldiers, you don't think you could have left me alone?
Fucking Valkyries. Ow, whoops. There we go.
A mighty creature of chaos felled by your power. Does it satisfy you, this bloodshed?
No.
Knowing those you destroy were once simple peasants, going about their day.
I require more bloodshed. This is not nearly enough. Once the corrupted behemoth falls, the rest of the minions flee. Their spirits broken. The soldiers erupt in cheers, praising your valor. The rest can wait. You can rest until morning, ready to greet the reinforcements with a town already saved.
The magician
Ichifun?
returns to the deck, but now we only begin our stories of fate, folly, and magic. Do not think I'm satisfied with this, but at least we have a place to begin. Now you have learned the simplest of ways to build your deck. Each challenge will provide its own unique trials. Here are some more tools to keep you in good stead.
Okay.
As you play, you will find more options open to you. Should you find yourself blocked or overly challenged, take the time to explore the board. Unlocking cards will give you options you have not yet considered.
Yeah, that is very true.
There is the small game, the game we play, and there is the great game, the game of life and death, the game I was once master of.
Yeah, like, if you end up having too much difficulty with one, with one of the areas, then yeah, if you have cards that are still marked with new, try to get new off them. If you have cards that still have tokens on them, maybe go to somewhere that you might be like that would stack the odds in your favor to get that one. So like, you know, this one, it needs chance cards and dice. Maybe, you know, turn around and put your deck in with stuff that that makes chance cards easier or makes dice easier. Because yeah, like that's the big thing, is that yeah, if you are running into trouble, there are ways around it.
You find yourself once again in the company of prayer and religion. How unfortunate. Now it begins. Negotiations on behalf of the Empire. We will see how that story ends.
Okay. Malcalypse has somehow roped you into traveling deep into the far north on a diplomatic mission. While I usually refrain from working for the Empire, since this one takes me further away from it, I've made an exception. It'll square my debt with General Brandstrom and help open many doors for you. What do you say? Ask how you can help. As you know, I have a great many skills, but my swordsmanship is unlikely to hold up against Northern Raiders. I know no one else who is more up to the task. Leader of the Raiders. There are many clans dotted around, but the supposed leader of them all is the High Priestess who lives up there. Malcalypse points to the top of the soaring mountains before you. Or the soaring mountain, rather. Ask him more about his mission. General Brandstrom instructed me not to come back until I talk to the High Priestess of the North and offer the terms of the treaty, he explains. Okay, we join him. Excellent. Bring your sword and let me do the talking, says Malcalypse. I brought plenty of supplies so we can set up camp when we get hungry. That's our first example of a platinum card. Malcalypse shares a tidbit as you commence your journey. The High Priestess is quite partial to blessings. If you can prove yourself worthy, we'd have a better chance at swaying her in our favor. So yeah, you'll see on the right here, meet with the High Priestess. That's what we need to basically... There's the primary objective and then there's the secondary objective. And it governs whether we get one or both of the tokens. So, yeah. You grit your teeth and begin the ascent. It is possible to get all 6 of the blessings on the way up. The only downside is it comes down to, I think, 2 card games? Or it might be dice. Either way,
in caution awaits us all. Nature, truly wild nature, will not tolerate fury in its domain, unless it is its own.
It is possible to get all 6, but if not, I'll probably come back when I have another card that will give me a blessing. High up on the mountain, you see the silhouette of a man approaching through the heavy snow. He bellows through the roaring wind. Who dares trespass in the sacred grounds of our priestess? Hidden raiders spring down the mountain with the dexterity of mountain goats.
Who dares venture? None less than the amazing Malaclips and assistant.
The amazing Malaclips and assistant. Okay. Gain equipment. I will take Winter's Bane, because it actually gives additional damage against Northerners. And gold! The clash of steel rings out, echoing through the peaks. The mountains answer with a low, ominous rumble as a wall of white rushes towards the melee, sweeping away everything in its path. Okay. You seek shelter against a bluff, pressing close to the rock face as the avalanche roars overhead. When the trembling stops, you are miraculously unscathed. Your assailant's weapon juts from the snow. As you near, you realize it is still clenched in his hand, his body buried to the wrist by the avalanche. Dig him out. You brave the cold and free the raider from his icy grave. He takes a moment to catch his breath and says, "You saved me, though we are enemies by blood. Take my blessing and lead me to my thoughts." So this is what's referred to as a transient blessing. Once it fulfills a condition, it will give you something and then it's discarded. So in this case, if I do a dice gambit and get the exact so if I do a dice gambit and it says get 12 and I get exactly 12, I draw 3 equipment and I discard this blessing.
Be careful where one takes refuge, even in the worst of storms.
With little warning, a snowstorm sweeps in from the north. The snow whips against you like shards of glass and obscures your vision. You struggle to find cover.
Now you wager for more than mere success and failure. You choose the very stakes themselves.
The climb becomes unbearable. You seek shelter in a cave and desperately fight off the onset of frostbite. When the howling winds ease, you clear the snow from the cave entrance to discover the dark clouds have passed. Malcalypse forages for firewood, saying, "The log is dry enough, we can set up camp here for the night." So I mentioned this last time. That's Malcalypse trying to introduce us to the camp mechanic. We are going to be...
Since I've returned to this world,
ungrateful.
I've been disappointed. The filth, the shame, the horrors dwell in the minds of men, not in the monsters in the darkness.
So yeah, Malcalypse will continually, very, very subtly hinting that we need to make camp. You'll notice there's even a objective over here telling us to make camp. We're probably not going to. Westwind's only tavern, the Rusty Razor, is a safe harbour among the many dangers of the outer reaches of the Empire. Its barkeep sits outside his establishment with a look of resigned defeat. Upon your arrival, he jolts straight up and a smile almost breaks out across his face. At last, someone from the guild is here. These Empire soldiers have almost ruined me. Before you can disagree, the owner swings open the saloon doors and pushes you inside. Inside, you discover a handful of Empire soldiers enjoying ale rather than doing their duty. The freshly invigorated barkeep hops onto a table and shouts above the noise. You lazy drunken deserters are done. The Stewards Guild has sent an enforcer here, and now you're all going to have to go to get back to your posts. This town needs defending. One of the soldiers rises with a slight sway. We've got 3 days until our shift ends and we return to civilization. So we're not doing any fighting unless they threaten the supply of ale, right lads? A ruckus cheer erupts and beer tankards smash together all around. So why don't you take your shiny line badge and shove off? The barkeep turns to you. What are we gonna do? Threaten. You suggest with menace the soldiers should report to duty or they'll report to the healer. That one. Nope. I won't be threatened by the likes of you, the soldier grumbles as he rises, followed by his friends. Oh no. Oh no, not a fight. Please, now. Watchmen, taken from the dregs of society, elevated to petty positions of power. Watchmen can block, greatly reducing incoming damage. Use bash to open them up for damage.
Just once, you can get a quiet drink.
No.
By sea and sun, fate and fame.
There we go. We successfully beat up the drums. They had it coming. Oh, and one thing I think I noted last time as well is that with a shield like this, it mentions use defend to reflect attacks from ranged enemies, while most say to defend.
Like a
It's nothing
compass,
major, but
it
yeah, some
indicates
shields
the
can
truth
reflect.
of all directions.
As soldiers fall under yet another blow from your weapon, the leader shouts out, "Stop! Alright, we'll do our part, just stop cracking our skulls."
Nicely done.
I refuse! Continues smacking.
In the cold, men become desperate. Women hold these mountains together, even through the worst.
So I'm not really going to... So I'm not going to really repeat lines that I've already spoken. Yeah, so that was Malcalypse trying to tell me to,
The
for
mountain
the love of
itself
Christ,
pushes
make
you
camp
back.
already. And that was me politely telling him fuck off.
Strange things still exist.
Ah,
Do
shit.
you not see the beauty in this plant? True wonders still remain. Treat it gently.
Its gaping mouth looks more than capable of shredding you to pieces, but at its base you notice some unusual fruit. If you throw something, you may be able to distract the savage mouth, thus allowing you to steal some fruit. Yeah, fuck it, why not? We have plenty of random shit I don't need. Let's throw the knight's sword. There we go. Do you throw your equipment at the plant? Yes. You launch your knight's sword at the creature. With a snap of its jaws, the item disappears. You pluck one of the fruits while it is distracted. Ah! The fruit is especially delicious, leaving you feeling refreshed and vigorous. The creature curls up to protect the remaining fruit as you leave the area.
Will you push on, despite nature itself attempting to thwart you?
As you ascend the snowy mountain Freitas, you happen upon a cottage with pungent smoke wafting out of the chimney. A frail old lady sweeping snow off the path beckons you to come in. We've come in search of the great High Priestess to deliver an important message, says Malcalypse. You'd better go bearing blessings if you want to get on the High Priestess's good side. I'm fixing a batch right now if you'd like a taste. If I've got it right this time, you can take it to her, she says, stirring the cauldron. Malcalypse politely declines. I've been watching what I eat. but my companion here has an insatiable appetite, he says, nudging you forward. Okay, thank fuck. So yeah, that was a permanent blessing, so that one stays unless it's removed. You take a sip of the aromatic potion and feel a warm, fuzzy feeling flowing through your body. Looks like my recipe is a success. I'm sure the High Priestess will appreciate this one. You thank the old lady and continue up Mount Freitas, paying no heed to the brewing blizzard. So the reason why it's a chance is that you have to pass that one, so it was a 3 out of 4. But there's also another one later on that you have to pass, which is a 50-50.
Not every temple has crumbled into the dust, more's the pity.
If you pass both of them, you'll be able to get to the 6. But if not, you won't. So like with everything else, I'm just clicking these to get rid of the new. So yeah, blessings like this one are fucking amazing. Ones that make any of the gambits easier, I am always a fan on. Even though I don't think I have any wheel gambits at all, I'll take it anyway, fuck it. But yeah, making any of the gambits easier is always something.
Between my loathing for gnomes and my despair that the world is becoming less strange and arcane as the Empire spreads.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of anything that makes any of the gambits easier. You trespass on gnomish ground, humans. A voice calls out as a dozen small creatures leap from the trees around you. The penalty for this transgression is death. Make peace with your gods. How rude. Gnomes, fiercely territorial, trespass in gnomish lands and face the consequences. Pesky, persistent, and impossible to hit. Gnomes cause snare, evade to avoid, or struggle to break free. Gnomes can only be deterred with a finisher. Kick! 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 Hunting gnomes! There we go. The battered gnomes pick themselves up from the battlefield and approach you cautiously. Alright, the penalty for this transgression is no longer death. We'd like to parley. We seek arms to defend ourselves, a gnome declares loudly. Hand over some of your equipment and we'll release you. We can even pay you something. I'll give you some food for a helmet, one of the small folk exclaims. I'll share the secrets of this land for a ring, another chimes in. Give me a weapon I can wield and one for my brother. We've got gold, a toothless gnome calls out. The gnomes all loudly shout their offers, trying to drown out each other. Try to drown each other out. I'll give them the Cardinal Blade. There you go. Enjoy. You sure you wish to trade these items away? Yes. You surrender the equipment to the gnomes. Satisfied, they offer payment in return. Oh my god. The toothless gnome looks perplexed. A mighty war machine to be sure, but however will we wield it? He turns to his brother and together with the other gnomes they heave the weapon into the bushes and out of sight. Yep, another blizzard. Let's see how I do. That one. I mean, failure's not that bad.